Hi everyone, this is Live from a Christian Perspective with Feyi Odwin-Tonwayas. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my channel out of your busy schedule. I thank you. Now this is 2021. It's a time that people would usually make New Year resolution, and it is a good thing to make New Year resolution, but I believe that it can be limiting if you decide that only once at the beginning of the year that you make resolution. Resolutions are something that you make a decision to do or not to do, and you can make it as many times as you want. And it is a good thing, but it's better also to make notes, to be aware of it, make a note, write it down, so that you know what decision you've made, so that you will try and see how far you've been able to keep it. But also important, apart from making a resolution, is also to have a word from the Lord. To have something, a word or compilation of words or a verse that God will give you, because you don't know whatever will be ahead, whatever you go through. And usually we need a word from the Lord that whenever there's a challenge, whenever there's a decision to make, that you fall back to. Now, I think it is important for everybody to hear from God. And I think it's also important when you want to start a journey, as you're starting the new year 2021, that you say, God, what is it that you want to tell me? What do I need to carry me through 2021? Now, how I have done that, and God led me to the story of Esther, and I want to share with you one or two things that I have gotten from the Lord that I believe will hold me, because I don't know what 2021 holds, but God does. When you look at the story of Esther, I know that you are most likely familiar with the story, and if you're not, I would encourage you to take the time to study the story of Esther, read through it, and also share with me whatever you might have learned. Now, the first thing I got from it from the Lord is that no matter what the policy, no matter what the law, no matter what decision is made by things that you can't influence, like let's say the government, whether it's a good government or not, that everything will work for me. That when people say there's a casting down, that we will say there's a lifting. Because when you look at the story of Esther, the king listened to advice, and they took all the virgins, beautiful virgins in the town. And I would say that that is actually a bit evil, because one king just took all the virgins for him to be test running and to choose one. Now, when you look at the story of Esther, people will focus on Esther, but people forget about the 100 of virgins that were collected, that were taken to the king's place. And it says, when we look at the story of Esther, that after going through the treatment for 12 months, they dedicated 1 year of their life to the king, more or less, for purification, for beautification, and they had just one opportunity to go to the king, and if he was not pleased with them, then they would return to the harem. That means they became more or less concubines for the rest of their life. That means that their life, they could not marry, they could not do anything, and it's only if the king remembers them by name that he calls them back to him. So I would say that the fate of these virgins, the rest of virgins, was not so good, because they couldn't marry. They were just concubines of the king, and they might never go to the king again. Meanwhile, the story was different from Esther. Out of all the hundreds of virgins that were taken, Esther found favor, and that is what God gave me, that no matter what the chaos may be, whether there's COVID or not, whatever plans or decree or policy that might be made wherever I am, in the country, in my workplace, that my case will be different, and I believe that your case will also be different. Keep on doing good. It might seem as if you're doing good, but at that time that nothing is happening. When you look at the story of Esther, Mordecai was the adopted father of Esther. And there was a time when he was sitting at the gates of the king, and he heard that some people wanted to kill the king, and he informed Esther, and Esther went to inform the king, King Xerxes, and they were able to stop those people from plotting against the king. And they wrote it, they recorded it, but nothing was done for him. However, when Haman did not like Mordecai and he wanted to hang him, I actually made polls where they were going to hang him, and he was going to the king to actually tell the king that, oh, I want to hang this person. That was the day, that was the night that the Lord did not allow the king to sleep, and he opened the book of remembrance, and instead of Mordecai being hanged, he was actually honored. And it will see that what he did then was as if it was forgotten. So no matter how you think that God might have forgotten you, keep on doing good. This year, don't be weary of doing good. At the appointed time, at the time when it is right, God remember you for good. Those are the two things that I have picked, and what I know that God has a reason for giving to me. And I want you to also tap into that and say, no matter what situation, no matter what might be around me, no matter what I might be going through, my case is going to be different. I will stand out, I will be favored, and keep on doing good. And we will all be honored in the mighty name of Jesus. Now I want us to also think about the prayer points that we might need for the year 2021 that I also got from the book of Esther. If you read the book of Esther, you will see that Esther was somebody that she didn't get favored just like that. She was obedient. She had people help us. When she got to the court, the eunuchs of the king, they liked her. And whatever instruction they gave her, she followed. Mordecai also told her, do this and don't do this. And when Mordecai also when he had the decree that Haman had made, and he went to tell Esther, she was afraid. She said, what can I do? But he motivated and said, if you don't do it, somebody else would. And she followed it. She was motivated. Now, my prayer for this year is that God, my helpers, Lord, my counselor, those that will give me wise counsel, Lord, Father, let me find them. Let me locate them. Let me find a motivator. Let me find somebody that even when I'm down, even when I'm depressed, even when I feel that I can't go on, that will say, come on, you can do it. Those people around you that will bring you up. And when we look at the story of Esther too, you will see that Haman was a man that had evil counsel. When he went to inform his wife and friends about Mordecai, that he wasn't bowing down for him, they said, why don't you make a place where you can hang him? And he did that. But when Esther invited him and he went back to tell them what happened later on, they now said, oh, you have done wrong, more or less. Your life is ruined. Meanwhile, they knew Mordecai was a Jew. They did not say anything about it. They actually advised him to go ahead and make a place for them to hang him. But later on, they reversed and they left him on his own. My prayer this year is that, God, I want good counsel, because we cannot stand alone. We need counsel. Even God says that we will thrive in the midst of good counsel. But evil counsel, let it be far away from me. So I pray for you that this year, people around you that will bring you down, God will let them be far away from you. And the last thing I want to add is that, God, I want the wisdom like Esther. Now you will think that Esther, when she knew that they were going to kill all the Jews, and the king gave her opportunity to go ahead and speak to him, that the first thing she would have done was to immediately fall down at the knee of King Xerxes and say, God, just this is this and this and this is what I want, help me. But she did not. I wonder why. I believe it was God that was telling her, keep quiet and do it this way. And instead, what did she do? She invited the king and Haman to a banquet. And even after the first banquet, she did not say anything. She invited him for another one. And that was afterwards when she spoke. My prayer is that, God, that wisdom that you have given Esther, when to talk, when not to talk. It is not all the time we are supposed to talk. It is not all the time we are supposed to keep quiet. God, help me in 2021 to know when to keep quiet and when to talk. Give me the wisdom like you gave Esther. Let me find favor. When things are going wrong for people, Lord and Father, my case will be different. I hope that all these things I've shared with you, you will also tap into it and take the time to study the book of Esther. So what I have for this year from the Lord is that no matter what situation, no matter what policy, no matter what might be happening in the world, I will stand out. My case will be different. And that no matter how it might be that I'm doing good and I'm not getting reward, at the appointed time, God will favor us. Keep on doing good. Keep on doing what is right. And seek and pray that God will let you find your helper, your motivator. And that God, all those people that want to give you evil counsel, God will give you a discerning spirit to know when, to know how to move away from them, and to also have the wisdom of when to talk and not to talk. At your place of work, in your marriage, there is a time to talk, there is a time to speak up. That wisdom that God gave Esther to know what to do at the appropriate time in 2021, let me know, and things will work together for our good. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch my channel and to listen to my discussion. Thank you very much. My name is Feyi Odun Tawayas, and I am a child of God.